Simon, are you ready? We are ready.
Yep.
Does this work?
Yes.
Absolutely.
We hear you.
Oh, okay. It's so weird, this the Telegram setup. I just see it's loading, but it doesn't show anything. So nice to meet you guys.
We will speak like few sentences. You speak English, then me or Buddy, we will translate this, and we will go like step by step. Is it okay? Is it fine?
Great. Unfortunately, I don't speak any Russian, but we have a few team members that do.
Okay.
The beautifulness of the English language that everybody speaks English language.
If anyone from community have questions to you, to the project, I said feel free to jot down all the questions, and we will begin with as we usually do from your introduction. Feel free to introduce yourself, and then we will go further with the Eclipse Fi.
I'm Simon, co-founder and CEO of EclipseFi. Have been building EclipseFi for almost 2.5 years now. Prior to that, I actually was quite involved with the Terra ecosystem, which was a big shame, and lost a lot of money in the Terra collapse. But I was actually building a lot of educational videos for the Terra ecosystem. So TFL had commissioned, building a lot of educational, highly animated educational videos, and it's something that I was always quite good at, was to explain complex topics in simple terms.
Can you tell us like a little bit more about these videos, or how your transition from video maker to co-founder and CEO looked like?
Yeah, so I was making these videos for TFL, the animated videos to explain the ecosystem. And I was working in a couple of DeFi protocols, and after Terra collapse, it was very challenging for some of these protocols to continue. I had the opportunity to go off and do my own thing. So essentially, the idea was that Cosmos didn't really have a proper launchpad at the time. It sort of was in the end of airdrop season, the first airdrop season actually, and there's projects out there that wanted to raise funds. There was a lot of chains launching, and there was no active launchpad or ways of raising capital from the community. And so this was the start of the bear market, so it was quite challenging. So we started to kind of brainstorm how to build a launchpad that would be focused on layer ones, be focused on Cosmos, and that would help to bootstrap these chains sustainably. So we started building, went into raising, and that was my kind of start in the wider Cosmos ecosystem. It was very, very hard and very challenging, but sort of iterated and found the right flows.
That's a really inspiring story. You've said that your way was quite difficult and challenging when you made a decision to create a very niche project in very, very like small space, like as Cosmos. It's still like on its way to maturity, and so it was challenging to start. Can you describe this, like your initial steps, how it was, and finish at the point where you are now at the moment? And then we will go with with current state of Eclipse Fi.
Yep. So I'll try and be quick with it because there's a bit of story. But basically it was me and two developers trying to figure out how to build this and launch projects and grow the community and get traction in an ecosystem that was quite small. And we couldn't really raise capital very easily because the VCs wouldn't back it because the ecosystem was too small, and we didn't have enough traction in community. So it was very much like spending a lot of energy, me and the developers working on BD, community, everything you can imagine to grow this to the size where it could be scalable. We ended up getting close to the Say team, the Say network, and we're one of the first projects to deploy on Say testnet. And that brought a lot of traction to us. We ran some campaigns on the Say testnet. Say said, we'll support you. And there was a whole bunch of things that they promised and never delivered. So it was very, very challenging. And then they launched and they messed up their launch. And so we were trying to figure out, like, okay, do we stay on Say? They're not supporting applications. They promised all these things and then deliver. So we ended up then, we were good friends with the Delphi Labs Astroport guys and with Neutron. And we ended up moving our home base to Neutron ecosystem to partner with Astroport very closely. So we saw an opportunity to have a synergy between a launchpad and Astroport on Neutron. Neutron obviously had a lot of promise. And we decided to build another product that linked in with the launchpad, which was a convex model or governance aggregator. The idea was that this would like accumulate voting power in Astroport and create this like synergistic relationship between a launchpad and the DEX. And so we built that out. We built that on top of Astroport. And then we launched our token about December last year, and we had a lot of traction. So this is around the Celestia launch. We brought 17,000 users to Cosmos. We were about $6 million oversubscribed, and we have a lot of noise and hype. And after that, we had like a really good couple of months. And then the bear market hit. But that I can kind of talk about the last couple of months and the journey of that if you want in a separate sort of quick snippet. So this year was quite interesting, right? Because we launched sort of around December, and then we're coming into January as a launch pad in the Cosmos ecosystem, which was peak hype of Dimension and Celestia. And we had projects messaging us everywhere. So, we had built a pretty good launch. We're pretty well known. We had a big community, and everybody wanted to launch on us. And so we had hundreds of applications for projects. And we said no to like 99% because our whole focus was on due diligence and being a launchpad focused on quality projects and sustainable. And so we're very picky. But the challenge that what happened was we realized like the Cosmos ecosystem launches really slowed down, around sort of February and March. Dimension Celestia peaked, and then the market sort of went like this and then came back down. And so we kind of spent we had a good couple of months. We launched some projects, we had some successes. And then sort of around mid-year, we were sort of in this middle ground where it was quite challenging because there wasn't projects to launch in the ecosystem and the market was getting worse, sort of the bear market. And so we focused more heavily on Equinox, which is the convex on top of Astroport. And sort of we launched that, had some success. Came back into the start of this year, and then that's sort of where we are now, and I'll explain what's next after you translate this.
Please correct me if I'm wrong. You were describing the period from December 2023.
Last year, yeah.
December 23, and then year 2024. And the mid of 2024 was quite challenging because there were not many projects to launch, right?
Not many projects, and things weren't performing.
Okay, so let's move to the current state of EclipseFi, if you will.
Yep. So, the market's been coming back. So we started going back into launches around the start of this year. So we have a couple of launches coming up. There's a couple of Cosmos launches, but Cosmos is still a little bit slow on that front. We focused quite heavily on the Neutron ecosystem in terms of like supporting the ecosystem of education. We built an easy onboarding flow for Neutron and just working closely with some of the apps in the ecosystem. We launched the voting front end and a bribes market for Astroport so that people could redirect Astro tokens, different pools in the ecosystem. So that was really cool. About to launch a new front end for the bribes market. And we've been mapping out what's next for us in terms of building. So we have a couple of opportunities on the table within Neutron, but also been chatting to the SKIP team, which is the Interchain Foundation, the Interchain Labs guys, about potentially building some things on the hub. So, we see Cosmos at a sort of a interesting place where I think IBC is a very, very powerful tech, and IBC Eureka is going to be quite game-changing, connecting to Solana and Ethereum. And we have an opportunity to take advantage of that and keep building on Neutron and keep building on potentially on the hub when they launch permissionless Cosmosm. So we have a couple of product directions for Eclipse that we are looking at doing for that, and things that will allow us to reach outside of just the Cosmos ecosystem to help bring liquidity and users into the ecosystem. So we're looking at a couple of things. the main product that we're looking at revolves around savings vaults and yield aggregation. And we have a couple of variant concepts of that would turn this into sort of like a powerful consumer app that would be friendly to everyday users outside of Cosmos, or even outside of DeFi in its current space. So I see moving forward, I think the most important thing for us now is how do we create applications that take the complexity of DeFi and simplify it so that we can reach users that aren't yet in crypto without creating complexity. Because I don't think that the future generation of users of DeFi will be users that come and use a chain or a wallet. I think they will get the benefits of DeFi and the benefits of crypto, but they won't know really that they're using crypto. And I think that's what we need to build for. So that's sort of what we're envisioning and what we're trying to build towards. And I think that's what the next 6 to 12 months are going to look like for us, building an application that is taking the benefits of DeFi and crypto and bringing them to users rather than trying to bring them to the chains.
Just let's pretend I'm a random listener, and I cannot fully get what Eclipse Fi is. Can we define Eclipse Fi in like 1 or 2 or 3 like sentences? Because as we just discussed, you do like several things. You work on the launchpad. You work closely with some DeFi projects on Neutron. You do bribing market front end for Astroport, and now you are on the building some applications for savings and yield for the new generation, new wave of users, which should be simple and what Eclipse Fi is.
It's a great question because we have evolved over time. I would call us a DeFi hub. Traditionally, we were Launchpad, and the way that I kind of explained it was the different pieces would tie into each other. So the Launchpad and the bribing and voting actually fit together quite nicely because it dealt with the process of launching a token and then getting liquidity to a token, right? So they were quite interrelated. When we talk about like now going into yield and this kind of new side of things, that definitely adds more confusion because then there's multiple products. And so the question is whether they're separated by name into different umbrellas. So it's not, under this big umbrella that's confusing about what you are. But I would say that we are a DeFi hub, and we're a DeFi hub that's focusing on bringing in user adoption and allowing users to get access to crypto and to invest in projects. And our end goal is to make it easier for the end user. So the end goal is like, how do we abstract that complexity and make it simpler for everyday users? Obviously, at the moment, we're sort of in this transition phase. That's why it's quite complex, especially as I talk about different products. But as we do with crypto startups, we evolve and we evolve with the market. And so that's the direction that we're going in. I'd say until now, we've been a launchpad mainly, and we're sort of evolving now.
As I said before, your story and the story of Eclipse Fi is very inspiring, at least to me, because when I hear some things like that, I always it always reminds me about almost like, let's say 80-90% of the projects which are just disappearing. They just like leaving the market or like stopping, like they stop development or anything else. They do not understand the key thing of this market, of this reality, that you have to evolve always, constantly, and adjust to the reality which changes really fast. So now you are in transition phase to become simple solution for new wave of users and allow them to invest in market, have savings and yield, but do not have any complexity. That's
Correct.
awesome.
Correct.
That's
Some
awesome.
of these things haven't been released much publicly, but these are things we've been working on. So that's, I think, what's going to be really important. It's like, how do we take the complexity of DeFi and then how do we bring that to the end users? I think that's going to be the next wave.
I said to community that I want to ask you, where do you get inspiration? Maybe you have any projects in mind which inspire you as the reference. Where do you want to lead your project to? Which direction you want to choose? Or maybe there is a project which you want to, let's say, even to copy this project would be a nice idea or something.
That's a great question, actually. I think I haven't got one inspiration. I think I've drawn pieces of inspiration from different projects. What inspires me and what drives me a lot of the time is seeing a problem in the market that hasn't yet been fixed and then striving to figure out how to fix it. And sometimes your first belief or your first idea might not be right. The market might not be ready for it, or you might not have the right team to execute one specific component, or maybe you can't beat competitors in one area. For me, what I drew inspiration from is, I think Jupiter on Solana is one I've drawn inspiration from a community perspective, in a strong way. Hyperliquid, and the way that they built a pretty good UX actually as an application, and they did it without VCs, and they did it in a very community focused way. And I think I draw inspiration as well back in the day from Terra ecosystem, not Terra itself, but the way that they approached UI UX. So back in the Terra ecosystem, you had Anchor Protocol, but then you also had Atlas Finance and Cardo and all these applications that were very tightly working together and creating beautiful front ends that made it easy for end users to participate. So I think it's not just one, but I like to look at the space and I look at different things that I think are done really well. And how do we borrow this from here and this from here and this from here to actually integrate that within our application and create something better? So I think that's really what inspires me a lot, is I see people do some things really well, and I want to learn from that. And how do we get better at this stuff?
Yeah, there was a question in the chat where the team is from, and Inna already replied that team is from Australia. Interesting how things are going in Australia with crypto wise.
We're actually global, so we have some in Australia, but Bali, I'm based in Bali. We have team in Russia, in Hong Kong. We have team in India. So we've got a few countries around the place. I'm not too sure about the Australian market for crypto. I haven't really been keeping up, but I know that there's been problems with banks and crypto causing issues. That's the main thing that I hear about.
All right, I gotta go to Bali as soon as possible to meet you in person. And most likely I will travel to Hong Kong in pretty soon. I don't know yet, but still. All right. Do you have anything to add from your side? Some words of inspiration or call to action to the community?
Yeah, I can for sure. So I know it's been a difficult few months, right? I know we've kind of gone into some kind of bull market, but not bull market everywhere. Cosmos has been a challenging ecosystem with tokens going down and people leaving the ecosystem. And I think that's hard on morale for builders. It's hard on morale for investors and users and people that are passionate about things going on. I think that no matter what everybody says, and no matter how the prices move or what happens in the space, or the demoralization of people creating grifters or things like that, I think if we zoom out, we're actually very early in the space. We're still very early. I think there's still a lot of applications for the tech that are going to be with us for a very long period of time. So I think for us, we've got this sort of window as an ecosystem in Cosmos to come together and to really rally around potentially the hub. I think the hub is really where things are going to happen with the Skip team taking over. I think that's really there's obviously Osmosis is really good, but I think the Cosmos hub now has the opportunity to really build a strong ecosystem backed by foundation. And I think there's a lot that we can do to set up education, to set up global growth for different markets. So whether that's like the CIS and the Russian community growth around the hub, I think there could be some really, really cool things to do there. And I think it could really help to further talk about Cosmos and further talk about like the ecosystems. So I think we're coming into a time where we've come from an ecosystem that was focused on tech and not growth, but now with new leadership, I think they're understanding the importance of growth. And so what my hope is for the next few months and next year is that they truly understand the nature and the global nature of the crypto markets, and start to focus heavily on global community growth. So Russian developers, Russian community growth, education in Russian, and supporting those that are facilitating that in the ecosystem, so that they can grow this past just small groups of community into something bigger and spread the word. So I think that's what I look forward to the next couple of months. And I think if everybody kind of gets together, and the builders and the communities, we could have some powerful growth in the ecosystem. And that's what I'm looking forward to. So I don't know if that's fully inspiration, but I think we're at a good time in the market where we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if we go into a bear market, but now's the time to build good products, and now's the time to grow the community around the hub and to consolidate a lot of the stuff over the last couple of years.
And one more question also from me. Do you have any kind of ambassador program or anything how community can be involved in Eclipse Fi development, whether it's community, code, whatever?
Yeah, we do have an ambassador program that our head of community has been running. There might be still some adjustments to it because it's been, it's sort of like it got revamped, and then there's a couple of adjustments to it. But ambassador program is good. Join our socials, obviously, like getting involved in the community is really cool. We have some Russian community, and obviously some of our team is from Russia, so that's also good connection. Yeah, I'm looking in the future to build some more kind of DAO programs, but we just haven't got there yet because we're just in transition. But I would love in the future to have some kind of working DAO for people that have talents they want to like contribute. But we haven't set that up properly yet. But the ambassador program is a way that people can like get involved more with the protocol, and yeah.
Perfect. There is a question from community. Do you plan any blue chip NFT collection on Eclipse or for Eclipse?
So we don't launch NFT collections. We have we started on an NFT collection for Eclipse, and then we had some issues with the artist, and we haven't finished or continued that NFT collection. I would love to create an NFT collection in the future. We just need to get through the focus on product first, and then it's something that we can loop back to create an NFT collection. Because you really need to, like, when you build an NFT collection, you need to sit down and you need to actually go, okay, this is what we're building, and have a pretty good like clear vision for it. But if you're focusing on product and marketing and everything else, it's quite hard to have that as well. So I think we will have an NFT collection in the future. We just haven't like prioritized that just yet.
I just added for myself that when you launch an NFT collection, you have to not only just work on the art, on the like idea behind that, as you said, but it's also BD to add some utility to your collection, and you constantly have to be involved with the community, answering questions, building community around this NFT, and there's like plenty of things to do when you launch some NFT collection. So when you want to just be focused on the products at the moment, but collection will be in the place when the time will come. Another question: when a token launch is planned?
Token was already launched. So I think I mentioned this earlier in the AMA that we launched about a year ago. And we had like a really big launch and had a couple really good months, and then we had struggles around the middle of the year. So I think that's when I mentioned a little bit earlier in the call on Neutron, and how we brought like 17,000 users, and we had like a pretty big launch.
Do you personally, or as a project, do you join some ERL meetups where people can talk to you in real life, or to the team? Are any like such events in the plans for the coming year?
I feel like I used to do this a fair bit, and I haven't for some time. I think it's been sort of like more isolated, focused on product. I think it'd be cool to do this in the future. I think especially in Bali, since we have team here. But we haven't really, there's not something that we've really been focused on. So same thing with conferences. Like, I was pretty used to go to a lot of conferences, and now I go to like the big ones, but haven't been to as many. I think maybe it'd be something cool to do. I think especially not just Eclipse, but maybe next time there's an Atom Bali or things around the world, that would be really cool. But I haven't personally gone to a lot of events for a long time. But when the new product direction stuff is out, maybe that would be something cool to like look at, to go to more in real life events and meet more of the community person.
All right, so I think that is it for today. If you have anything to, couple of words before we proceed to the next speaker, and I want to thank you from like all our community, from me personally, that you joined us today and shared your. I think there are so many details to add for every and each episode we were discussing today, but still, it was a pleasure to chat. I know, as a like Bali enjoyer, I know how challenging, it's really challenging and tough to work there, because you're like, just, oh, that's nice vibes. I will just chill sometime.
Not to me. No, I don't leave this house. So Ina can tell you, like, probably until like last week, I was the whitest person in Bali, because I did never leave my desk or my office just to get food or order takeaway. So you kind of like, you two sides. You have people that chill in Bali, and you have people that just in a cave.
Absolutely, but still, the heat is like another level pressure to the brain. But since you are from Australia, maybe things are different and everything feels different. Thank you again for joining us. We will publish record of this wonderful spaces as soon as possible. We will make English only extract, and also publish the full video. We'll send you all the links, and please, if you can, please collect all the list of the links for us to attach to the video. We'll share it with community right now. And yeah, thanks again. We will switch to the Russian language and proceed with other speakers. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, and I appreciate you guys. Love how engaged your community is and asking a lot of questions. So thank you guys, and look forward to talking soon.
All right. Thank you.